Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel that is all about medical. So subscribe the channel, share and like the videos. So as you can see in today's video, we are going to discuss about the all newborn reflexes. Yes, the newborn which shows reflexes we are going to discuss in this video. So without wasting time, let's start the video. So as you can see the image very clearly, we are going to discuss about normal newborn reflexes. So let's start with the first reflex of the newborn. As you can see the image, first reflex is blinking reflex, and the response which infant shows, infants blink at sudden appearance of bright light. This reflex appears at birth and disappears. Actually this does not disappear, and you can see the blinking reflex in the image very clearly. And now coming to the second reflex, which is doll's eye, and response is when the infant's head is slowly turned, the infant eye will remain stationary, and it also appears at birth. And this reflex, doll's eyes reflex, is disappear after 3 to 4 months. And next reflex is, that is third reflex, which is globular reflex, and the response is tapping on bridge of the nose glabella causes eye to close tightly. This reflex is also appears at birth and it does not disappears. Now coming to our fourth reflex, and the fourth reflex is rooting reflex, and the response is infant turns head towards any object that touches his cheek, and it occurs at birth and it disappears after 3 to 4 months. And next coming to our fifth newborn reflex, which is sucking reflex. Baby begins to suck in response to stimulation of circumoral area, and it occurs at birth, and this reflex disappears after 6 months. And our sixth reflex is gag reflex, and the response is stimulation of the posterior pharynx by food or suction causes infant to gag, and this also appears at birth and disappears. This does not disappears. So, and the next reflex is named as palmar grasp, and the response which newborn shows is when object placed on the newborn's palm will be grasped by newborn, and this occurs at birth and disappears at after 3 months. And the next reflex is plantar grasp reflex, and the response which newborns show is flexion of the toes when the sole of the foot is stroked gently. This appears at birth and disappears after 8 months. And the next 10th reflex is Babinski reflex, and response is stroking the lateral part of the sole of the foot produces plantar flexion of the big toe. And this reflex appears at birth and disappears after 1 year. And next reflex is Moro reflex, and the response which newborn shows when loud noise is made, it causes sudden extension and abduction of extremities and fannings of fingers. This reflex also occurs at birth and disappears after 3 to 4 months. And the next reflex is Paris reflex. Response is when a finger pressed along the spine from the sacrum to the neck, infant responds by crying, flexing extremities and elevating head. This occurs at birth and disappears after 4 to 6 months. And the next reflex is Tonic neck, when infant's head is turned to one side, arm and legs extend on that side, and opposite arm and leg flex. This appears after 2 months and disappears after 3 to 4 months. And now our next reflex is Gallant Reflex. The response which newborn shows is newborn will swing towards the side that was striked alongside spine. This reflex also appears at birth and disappears after 4 weeks. And next reflex is which is dance and stepping reflex. Response is when the soles of the feet of the newborn touch a flat surface, they will attempt to walk by placing one foot of the other. The flexion and extension of legs occurs at birth and disappears after 3 to 4 weeks. And next is crawling reflex. And the response is when newborn placed on abdomen, infant make crawling movements, occurs at birth and disappears after 4 weeks. And the next reflex is starter reflex. Response is when loud voice is made, the infant's elbow are flexed and the hands remain closed, occurs at birth and disappears after 3 to 4 months. And the last reflex is parachute reflex. The response which shows which newborn response shows when the child is held upright and the baby's face forward as in falling. The baby will extend their arms forward. It occurs at after 8 to 9 months and persisted